Hi there, it's Dave Hollander, and I want to take a few minutes and talk about Influencer, the New Science of Leading Change, one of the books in our assignment here, and really talking about how to become an influential leader. Um, really talking about how do you take an idea, turn that idea into a strategy, and ultimately create a measurable outcome. We as nurses, we love our measurable outcomes, and so do our executives above us. So how do you take this book, The Influencer, and make that happen? As a nurse leader, it really means having influence in the things that we measure for success. And I can think of two specific things that we measure almost every day. One is employee engagement, and the other one is patient satisfaction. And I want to talk about and focus on patient satisfaction in regards to the influencer model. Um, and really, as you look into this, you really need to identify where your influence is. And there are three keys to identifying that influence. So, first is what is your focus and how are you going to measure it? What is the goal that you want to achieve? You need a clear, concise focus with measurable outcomes. Second, you want to find vital behaviors, the high level behaviors that are going to help you to drive results. And finally, engage in all of the 6 sources of influence that are outlined within this book, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. The book does give a great example of Delancey Street in San Francisco, a group founded by Dr. Mimi Silbert. And what they do is they take ex-cons and they put them into meaningful work environments, and they have a 90% success rate in people graduating from this program and having meaningful success and employment. Um, they really use two frames from the influencer model, structural motivation and social motivation, that influences their behaviors. So Dr. Silbert uses vital behaviors to create the change that they want to see. Specifically, requiring each person to take responsibility for someone else's success. So that's a social motivation in the social motivation frame. The second one is that everyone confront everyone else about every single violation or concern. So there you've got a structural motivation. Um, what they saw is that the employees or the ex-cons that they put in this program really took ownership of those behaviors, and they created change. They were the change agents themselves and drove the success of the organization at very different levels. The vital behaviors are really the key to this, and that's something I really want to emphasize. Um, when you're looking at vital behaviors, you want to look for the obvious, and it will stick out to you. You'll know what those behaviors are that you want to focus on and that you want to emphasize. Find the behaviors that set people apart. Those people are the ones that make it look easy. So my example is commit to sit, and I've got a couple of nurses who make commit to sit look so easy when they sit with their patients, and they get tremendous um, uh, response and reviews from their patients, and they get a lot of comments and comment cards about their compassionate care because they commit to sit. They take that extra minute, and that's one of those vital behaviors that doesn't take a lot of time, but it sure means a lot. Um, and how do you propagate that? We use stories to emphasize and to give examples of that. And for those that make it look easy and do it all the time, those are your change agents. Those are the ones that demonstrate the vital behaviors. So let's talk about the 6 sources of influence for a minute. Really, there are 2 domains that we're talking about. One is motivation, and one is ability. So do your staff members, do the people on your team, do they have the motivation? Are they the right people to do it? And do they have the ability to do it? Have they been given the training? Do they have the internal drive to do it? Uh, do they have the structure to do those things? The 2 domains are divided into personal sources, structural sources, and social sources. So there are 3 subsets within each of those domains. And I really want to focus on just 3 of those, and it's all within the motivation domain because I think that that has the most influence for my team and I think for nursing as well. So when you look at personal motivation, do you have the right people in the right place? And when you identify those high performers, those change agents, those are the ones who are going to demonstrate the vital behaviors that you want to see. And are they personally motivated? And they usually are. Um, do they have the personal ability? They typically do, but if they don't, you need to provide that in some kind of training. Um, Social motivation. Telling stories has such an impact, especially within the nursing world. We love telling our stories, and they have deep meaning to us. And at this level, where you're trying to create cultural change and have an influence on a unit, stories can be so impactful in a social setting. So you need to create that social setting and give them the ability to provide those stories at huddles or uh, staff meetings, that kind of thing. And then the structural motivation behind it, giving rewards for good behaviors. When you see those um, uh, those vital behaviors happening, you want to reward them and make sure that people continue to do them. Do you have the structural ability to do that? What types of rewards are you giving out? So really it's all within the motivation domain, and I think that has the most impact with nurses. So identify those vital behaviors that are going to make change on your unit. Who are the change agents? Use storytelling for social motivation. Use that at your daily huddles, use it in your staff meetings, use it in the hallways, use it at every opportunity. And then um, continue with the structural motivation and rewarding good behavior and making sure that you are having people continue to do those vital behaviors and getting rewarded for it. That will create cultural change and that will make you an influential leader. If you do this right and you follow these prescriptives, this should snowball on its own, and you should be able to step back and watch it take a life of its own and create a new culture for your unit, and then you'll know that you've become that influential leader. That's my goal with this, and I plan on taking this with the things that we talked about with Commit to Sit specifically, and creating a culture within the unit where socially we talk about those moments, how they're working, giving those stories as often as we can, and rewarding that good behavior. And that's how I hope to become an influential leader. I enjoyed the read. I do recommend it, and it's not too tough. It's got a lot of stories in there as well that really kind of bring it home, so it makes a lot of sense. Thanks for listening. Have a good day.